So, welcome to the talk series on Guiding Lights. I'm Payal Gandhi Hoon, your host, bringing you up close for riveting conversations with some of the brightest HR leaders. Today, I have someone with me who is intensity personified. He doesn't mince words, a leader who calls a spade and stands by what he believes. He has been a global HR professional with significant experience in leadership and organizational development, executive coaching, org design, HR transformation, acquisition integration, and cultural assimilation. He has a rich experience in automotive, energy, FMCG, and pharma industry. It's my pleasure to welcome Manish Sinha, Global CHRO, Mahindra and Mahindra Limited, automotive business, to be our guiding light today. Welcome, Manish.
Thank you, Payal. Thanks for having me.
So, Manish, first things first, as a noted leader in the HR fraternity, what is your formula to being such an impactful contributor to HR and business?
Know the business inside out. Know the business as good as your CEO and your CFO. Make sure that you understand the business levers, the dynamics of where and how you make money. Convert that into the imperatives of HR. Have at least a 2-year vision of how HR is going to contribute to turn that vision into reality. Make sure that you are absolutely working in that direction with checkpoints and your own ways of understanding whether you are headed in the right direction or not. And of course, last but not the least, it shouldn't rest at you or with you. It has to be cascaded amongst all your team members. Especially your one down should have the same view and vision as you have, so that the sailing can become smooth.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I think that's really a poignant point there that you made, that sharing the vision with people who work back with you, and especially one level down, so that there is a high level of commitment and a certain purpose to what you're working in. So Manish, you've had a gamut of experiences, and I'm sure there's much inspiration that you can spread across the HR fraternity and business. So today, as a guiding light, looking at your wide experience as an HR professional, especially I think industrial relations and also core HR and now strategic HR, I think you may have a lot of stories to share with us that come to your mind instantaneously. And how did you overcome that challenge?
One such story or incident that comes to my mind is the union challenge or the employee relations issue that we had in one of our facilities in Punjab when I was working with PepsiCo. So here is a situation where the plant HR manager resigns. The union, actually there are multiple unions, but the majority union serves a charter of demand. My HR director calls me, has a one-on-one, says, why don't you step in? And almost with zero experience of dealing with unions, I am asked if I would like to take it up. And there is a personal challenge at home as well. We are expecting our first kid. So amidst all of this, you have to take a call. So I jump into this situation, and right from dealing with the politicians to the district officials, you name it. The union called for a strike. We went for a lockout. I definitely would say we were able to live by the values of the organization and make sure that there are no compromises which are detrimental to the current and to the future of the business going forward. And mind you, this happened in 2006. We are sitting in 2022. From then till now, there hasn't been even a single strike in that manufacturing unit that I'm referring to. You should sometimes let yourself loose and go with the flow.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think what's very interesting about your profile, and like we were discussing the previous time as well, it is a mix of the IR part of it and the HR part, and that was the interesting mix. So you got your hands dirty in terms of, I think, the stakeholders change and transition. Today you are a guiding light. So I'm sure you've had some people in your journey who've served as guiding lights for you. And what lessons in terms of work or life, that have really got you to be, chiseled you to be the person that you are today?
I would thank Abhijit Bhadri. So he has been one of my mentors in my career. Sometimes there are situations that you do not believe in yourself, but the leaders who see you in action believe more in you than you yourself. You should actually let yourself loose.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Manish. And what I liked is, to summarize what you said, was really having the belief as a leader in a potential, to have that eye, even if the person may not believe in themselves. So I think these lessons certainly add to the person, and also, like you said, involvement. As a leader, to be in touch with the roots is so very critical there. So these are really the themes, and thank you so much for sharing that. The image of HR is transitioning at a huge pace, at a rapid pace, and it's really getting to be at the pivotal point and center stage. So it's really moved from being that support function to a leading function to a strategic function. So Manish, I'd like to invite you to share your views in terms of the trend of HR taking the lead in organizations and business.
The last decade precisely has seen a significant turn and a significant change in how HR gets positioned in organization. We've had so many HR leaders becoming the managing directors and CEOs of different companies, right, in India, outside of India. This is a trend which I believe is going to continue. And the reason behind it is the fact that HR works across the business. It truly is in a space where it understands the business dynamics. It understands the value chain so well, the levers in the value chain, and what is it that needs to be done to make the business succeed. Now, helping the business succeed is essentially based on 2 or 3 legs. The first, of course, is the business model itself. The second is the people that you work with. And the third, of course, the other elements of systems, processes, markets, so on and so forth. Given the fact that HR works with almost all stakeholders so closely, and with the new fleet of HR professionals which are coming in, their ability to understand what they should be doing differently to help the business succeed is far superior, as without any prejudice, if I may say, what I had seen of the era of 1980s and 1990s. So the fact that they are so well entrenched in driving the business, their ability to get on center stage and possibly drive the business themselves is that much higher, which is what we have seen as, HR leaders get elevated in roles of CEOs in India, outside of India. So my belief is that the trend would definitely continue, and we'll see more and more of such things happening.
Fantastic, Manish. That's so reassuring, and I'm sure there's going to be a surge in people joining HR, wanting to look at HR as well, and being a part of the journey. So that's a really interesting perspective. And I think now, on a lighter note, more in terms of you being the guiding light. So I'm sure the audience will be curious to know. We've started with a theme of HR trends. So as our guiding light, what is that 1, 2, or 3 trends that you absolutely think that we all should follow?
While I think few trends, and I recently wrote in one of the articles that got published, I think we used to talk about the workforce of one, and there was a book called The Workforce of One which got published a few years back. I now believe it is the time where workforce of one is truly becoming a reality. So everything which is almost personalized to the extent of the person that you are dealing with, in spite of that person being one amongst hundreds or thousands of employees, but what is it that you are doing for him which is so highly personalized that it motivates and encourages him to get up and come back to office or do his work with 200% commitment on a day-to-day basis, is what I would see more of. And I am sure that the HR leaders of tomorrow will possibly think of different ways on how they can actually encourage and motivate that one employee in the entire workforce. And this singular experience will continue to repeat itself for each such employee, whether it is a set of 100 or it is a set of thousands employees. And the singular experience that you want to create for an employee is through the value chain, right from the joining, the time of hiring, to the time of onboarding, to the performance dialogue, to the way you treat him for rewards and recognition, to the way you curate his learning journeys, to the way you get him exposures and experiences in front of senior management, you name it. An employee's life cycle will be his or her life cycle. It will not be a generic paintbrush the way it used to happen till late, I would say even late 2000, the way we used to do that. This is a generic policy which applies to everyone in the workforce. I truly see a disruption happening there. And in times to come, people would be far more, organizations would be far more, they would try to experiment with individual specific experiences that they want to create. The second thing which I would definitely want all of us to be more cognizant of is the level of diversity and inclusion that we talk. And I know it's a long belabored point. All of us have been in forums and sessions where we talk about diversity and inclusion. To an extent, in certain organizations, it seems more like a lip service. But the question is, in any of our household or in any of our decisions, it's not one person who's taking a decision. You talk of any buying decision, anything. It is actually not one gender's decision. It is not the father or the mother or the kids alone who are taking a decision. Right from a shampoo to a soap to a diaper to a electronic gadget to a house or to a experience or to a luxurious getaway, you have to have everyone's input. And if the product or the experience that you're selling has everyone's input, the people who are creating that experience or the product needs to have that variety as well. All our organizations in India and outside are at different levels of evolution as far as diversity and inclusion is concerned. But I see a lot of it actually becoming far more stronger in times to come.
I think you're absolutely right. The sense of belongingness and diversity, inclusiveness, like you said, it is more of lip service right now. And it is a tall feat, but I think that is a potential that HR can really tap into and start looking at. And I was just imagining while you were speaking, what a tall feat it is to really go into what a singular, like you said, employee's life cycle or career cycle would look like. And now it's almost become like a life cycle because we are looking at after the pandemic, things have changed drastically. So I'd like your quick views on, the current employee benefits and rewards and recognition system. How is it going in terms of trend? Any specific best practices that you'd like to share with us?
Organizations have, again, varying and different levels of reward and recognition practices. I think most of the evolved organizations or organizations with significant reach across continents or even within the country, they have fairly well progressed on reward and recognition, right from the platform to the design of the program to what all gets included in reward and recognition. I personally think there is a lot happening in that space. The conventional reward and recognition essentially talked about, you reward a person for an effort or for a behavior. It has actually moved to an arena where you are talking about rewarding outcomes and making sure that it is all not only limited to a monetary thing, but it transcends beyond monetary. It has actually gone into an arena where not only the use of technology is helping to, curate these experiences, but the organizations are also now slowly and gradually understanding the need to let it be with the employees.
You said rightly, more in terms of benefits transforming over a period and again becoming very specific to what the employee needs and wants. I was currently reading, there's a lovely initiative going on at Mahindra as well, which is the Learning Festival, where you have the industry leaders speak. And so those are some high points because not every employee would be looking at the same, and also depending on, the level or the generation that the employee really comes from. So what is really being viewed as a benefit, and rewards and recognition is really again becoming very specific to a subjective need of an employee. And that having said, the organization being able to give those opportunities and align is really the key. What is that one advice that you'd like to give, which is a must do for all HR professionals?
I would say know the business as good as your CEO or your CFO. And if I'm allowed to add one more, have a point of view. And don't be defensive about your point of view. It's good to have a point of view with data, facts, examples, inputs from others, but do have a point of view. Don't be inflexible. While it's good to have a point of view, don't be inflexible so much that you rub everyone off and you are not seen as someone who doesn't listen to people. So the fine balance between having a point of view and great pair of ears is what one should try to strive for.
Fantastic. Bravo. That really went well. Thank you so much, Manish. And it's been an absolute pleasure dipping into and getting to know some insights from you. And thank you for being our guiding light.
Thank you, Payal.